Hi all, Neci LoveHarmon here of What She Creating, and today we will be creating our own bias tape using a BiasTape Maker. So some of the things you will need include your fabric, an iron here, a BiasTape Maker like such, chalk or marker, as well as scissors. Almost forgot my trusty rulers, and then this is my basic bias tape in which I created. Super easy. Let's go. Okay, first thing you need to know about this bias tape maker is that it's 1 inch in length, and you can get them in various sizes, but this will make a 1/2 inch bias tape. So if you look at it, this is where you feed in the fabric here. Okay, and on this side the fabric will come out, and then there's a little handle here that you can pull up, and you will use that to help slide the fabric through. And this is a little spot where you can put a little pin. So let's move on to the next step. Fabric is usually, most of the time when you make a bias piece, you make it out of a woven fabric. Now you can make it out of knit, but I'm just doing it for, because it's easier to do it on woven pieces. So usually the grain goes this way, either lengthwise or widthwise, okay? So when you are cutting on the bias, you cut on a diagonal, okay? That helps to keep the fabric from fraying. So what I'll do is I'm going to turn my fabric this way because this is the bias. So I'm going to turn my fabric on bias. Now I'm using a rotary mat, but if you don't have that, you don't need to necessarily go out and buy it. Just, you know, work with what you got. So I'm going to make, in order to make a 1/2 inch double-sided bias tape, or 1 inch single-sided bias tape, I'm going to take my ruler here, and I'm going to use a marker so that you can see it, and I'm going to measure 1 3/4. So I have one line already drawn, so I'm going to do one more row. So here we go. So I'm just going to mark. So I'm just going to place a mark here. Okay, and I'm going to take my ruler and connect the dots. Now this is super easy. Okay, so you can make your bias tape as long as needed. Looks like I will be doing 2 pieces, so I will show you how to connect also. So I'm going to take my shears here, and if you have rotary cutters, you can use that also, but I'm going to cut. Okay, so I have my 2 pieces here that will eventually be bias tape. You want to make sure that your ends are like on a diagonal. And I'm going to just try my best to do it at a 45-degree angle. But if it's not 45, it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to cut this. Bam. All right. And then I'm going to take one end of this. It looks like it's almost at a 45-degree angle. I want to join my 2 pieces together. So what I'll do is, because you have to attach your pieces before you do anything else. So I'm going to take this piece and this piece. I'm going to turn and put right sides together. So it looks like this. So I'm going to turn it over like that. And don't forget to let your ends overlap each other. Attach it like that. You may need a pin or a clip, but you'll take it. So I'm going to sew this across about a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we've sewn it, and now on to pressing. All right, guys, so we're at our final step. So I'm going to take the piece that I placed together, and I am going to take my hot iron and iron this part. Okay, now I did not match the print. Do not judge me on that. Wasn't even tripping about it. So let's take one end of the fabric And make sure that it is at a diagonal because it'll go into the BiasTape Maker easier. I'm going to lift the handle up here. I'm going to put the fabric in from the left side. So let's put it in here. And if you're having a hard time pulling it through, because sometimes it can be hard to kind of pull it through, you can take like a pencil or something, put it in this little crevice here. So I'm going to take a pen and just push it through like that. So I grab it. Okay. And so I have my steamy iron here. So make sure that you check your iron and that your iron is on the cotton setting or whatever type of material you're using, and make sure that you have the steam on. Because I'm going to take the end here. I'll put the bottle of glue on the end here to hold the fabric so that it doesn't necessarily move as I iron. And so here we go. I'm pulling and pulling and pulling and go and pulling and pulling. So this is single fold bias tape. All right, here we go. We're getting close to the end. So that's your single-sided bias tape. So that was super easy, right? All you did was iron. So if you want to do double fold bias tape, all you do is fold the fabric up slightly, not where the ends meet, but one end is kind of tucked under just a bit, maybe about an eighth of an inch below the top, and then you just iron. And I could use a seam gauge or something, but for what though? Because it doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody's gonna really see this anyway. So I'm still using my steam function. Almost at the end here. And here we go. All right, so now we have, in less than a minute, we have the double fold bias tape. Super easy. You know, you may spend $1 trillion in the fabric store buying packs. Why do that when you can make your own with this $10 BiasTape Maker? So thanks for watching this tutorial. Let us know your video ideas. Subscribe to follow us and subscribe on social media as well as YouTube. And happy sewing.